Hello, I'm Katie from Vitae, and I'm going to be presenting on behalf of Kate and Katherine today. So this is very much a team-conceived idea that I'll be sharing with you. And I also just wanted to say thank you to Karen, because I really enjoyed your presentation, and there's such synergy between what I'm about to say and what you were just saying. So I didn't know that in advance, so that's really nice to see. Okay, so click on. First, I'd like to remind you of some findings from a report authored by Marie Twy during her doctoral research placement at Vitae. Marie's placement was funded by the Consortium for Humanities and Arts in South East England, the CHASE Doctoral Training Partnership, to explore professional development experiences of doctoral researchers, specifically in the arts and humanities. The report described the study participants as being career conscious but time poor. And although 94% of them were interested in developing themselves professionally, only 2/3 regularly devoted time to their professional development. And half of respondents said that they struggled to balance their professional development with the timely completion of their thesis. And the report made several recommendations, and in particular identified supervisors as potential gatekeepers of researchers' professional development, that they influence researchers' engagement with and time available for their professional development. So the report stated that while supervisors should not be expected to become careers advisors, they should be trained to support their supervisees in their professional development journey. Once trained, supervisors should be mandated to raise professional development in supervision regularly, to encourage supervisees to invest time in professional development, follow up and review training needs analyses, offer support in selecting and prioritising future opportunities, and discuss career aspirations, including beyond higher education. Thinking back then to Karen's many hats, this is a broad range of expectations that we're placing on supervisors. And these were interesting and important findings, but since the study focused on the perceptions of supervisees, it did leave us with some questions, such as why were the recommendations of the study not already the experience of researchers? And what would supervisors think about being identified as gatekeepers of professional development? And what do supervisors themselves perceive their role in professional development to be? So we were joined at Vitae by Katherine Parker-Hay, who is also a CHASE doctoral researcher, and she carried out a 6-month qualitative study to provide a better understanding of what doctoral researchers in the arts, humanities and social sciences think about the doctorate and where they see the boundaries of their responsibilities, particularly for career development and well-being. So today I'm going to provide just a few insights from that study as a basis for discussion around supervision teams, but you can also hear more about the study in this interview with Kate and Katherine, and I'll pop the link into the chat afterwards. But some of the themes emerging from the supervisor interviews and focus groups will come as no surprise to this audience. For example, that supervisors may have limited insight into careers, and particularly careers beyond academia, that the language of supervision is deeply rooted in the disciplinary context, and this may be more so for the arts and humanities. And so the language of professional development can be felt to be quite different from the usual supervisory language. Supervisors said that they sometimes feel ethically conflicted, on the one hand knowing that opportunities for an academic career are limited, but on the other, not wanting to discourage researchers from their academic career aspirations and not wanting to move them away from a pure focus on research. Participants in the study were also asked about their role in signposting to services such as wellbeing and professional development. And this was something that supervisors did not feel well placed to do, even though it's an activity frequently mentioned in institutional guidelines for supervision. One supervisor noted that to signpost effectively, you need a deeper institutional knowledge, and study participants often thought that they didn't have that detailed understanding of the different professional roles in their institution, though they did respect and value the importance of them. So the study also made several recommendations, including that institutions could create opportunities for connections between supervisors and professional services. And I was interested to see this idea supported in part by a slide presented by Professor Dame Ottiline Liza. And her figure shows a range of roles across an institution that are beyond what you might think as the core research team. So there's growing acknowledgement of the importance of cross-functional collaborative teams in research, including specialists distributed across an institution who either support or actively contribute to research projects. However, we also know that a shift in research culture is needed in order to appropriately value and recognise the different contributions of these specialists. So I've unravelled a few different threads here, and you might be asking how they knit together. So we know that time pressure on doctoral researchers can lead them to deprioritise their professional development in order to prioritise what they see as the real work of research. Supervisors can feel conflicted in balancing development for future careers with completing the thesis. And supervisors themselves acknowledge their limited insights into careers and professional development. And we've also seen that cross-functional collaborations are already supporting research, and a culture shift needed to recognise this. So one suggestion for bringing these threads together, and this is where Karen's and my proposals are slightly converging, is an idea of cross-functional supervisory teams. And that is including other professionals, such as researcher developers, within the supervisory team more explicitly to perform specialist roles. So we've already moved beyond a fixed apprenticeship concept of supervision to other kinds of team-based formats, such as including supervisors from different sectors or having staff with a specific pastoral responsibility. Supervisors are time poor, and they shouldn't necessarily be expected to be experts in careers. But we know that researcher developers can provide that effective signposting and collaboration with the many other professional functions across the institution. Researcher developers are already often doing this signposting and curating a professional development journey for their researchers. As Kay described earlier, researcher developers are often agents of the hidden curriculum. And I liked hearing that word agents being used again in Karen's presentation just now. And we could certainly think of these agents as having a range of different roles, including, as Karen suggested, researchers themselves. So the question is, could or should this be brought more formally into supervisory teams? To reverse Kay's question from earlier, is researcher development part of supervision? So this is far from a fully formed idea, and such a radical change to supervision would obviously not be possible overnight, but I hope that it's given you some food for thought. And I've also set up a Padlet, so if you'd like a little bit more time to reflect and share some thoughts, then I would very much welcome them, as well as any questions that you have at the moment. Thank you.